Welcome to another episode of TDOC Talks. I'm Faith Saifedine, Public Information Officer for Middle Tennessee. We're standing outside the Armory here at the Tennessee Correction Academy in Tullahoma, and today we're learning more about the simulator and the different scenarios that our officers have to go through on the job. David, please tell us more about this space that we're in.
Okay. This space is the home for the use of force simulator. The department has two of them. Several years ago, the commissioner decided that it wasn't right to have the officers trained and then 12 months later requalify, and that's really the only time throughout the year that they would touch their firearm. So we actually have a policy where they do it multiple times throughout the year, both live fire and simulator. The simulator immerses the officers into a training environment using video scenarios and things like that. It's a significant cost saving because we don't actually use live rounds. It's all computerized, and air operates the firearms. It's a controlled environment. All of the operators for the system are trained firearms instructors and use of force instructors. So they not only serve to operate the system, but to coach the officers along as they train. So it gives them several options throughout the year to recall policies and procedures, things like that, while they're being pressured by a possible use of force scenario.
All right. And what would you say the success rate of that, having to recall as opposed to before the policy change? What has that been like for officers?
Well, one thing has stood out significantly. When we have our initial firearms training, there are some officers that struggle right from the beginning. And in days gone by, the remediation from that was they would fail out, go back to their home office, and then come back for training at some other date. And that was another week of training and staff and another 1,000 rounds of ammunition. Now, when we have those issues, the officers that are struggling are taken off the live range. They come right in here. On the simulator, we can present a static target like what's on there now, and the operator can coach them, remediate them, kind of help guide them one-on-one, really. And that's been significant because we've been able to bring the officer that's struggling into this room, and as much as an hour later, they go back on the range, and we see a significant improvement. Overall, it's huge because they don't fail, they don't go back. Some people still don't make it, but the percentage of those that do has increased significantly.
That's awesome. Now, the simulator that we see behind us, it's not the only one, right? Don't we have a mobile simulator? Right. Talk to me about that.
Well, we have, because of the size of our department, we have two simulators. One is the static here at the training academy, and the other one is mobile. So we have an operator that travels across the state each week, and we do it by regions. It's all scheduled as much as a year ahead of time so that the officers and the home offices, the work sites are aware early on how to make adjustments so that their officers can attend the training. So it might be, this week it might be in East Tennessee at a central office so that we reduce the amount of time that people have to travel and the expense associated with that and time away from families and things of that nature. They can just go to an office close by on like a dental appointment and train that way. And that's been able to help us meet the requirements that our department's looking for.
That's awesome. So we've talked about it, we've given you an overview. Now I'm sure you want to see exactly how the simulator works. Let's take a look.
A neighbor has reported a domestic, and you have been dispatched to investigate.
You never do anything.
We're just here to see what the call's about, man, and make sure everybody's all right.
Okay, now David, you have lots of different scenarios. Explain to me the scenario that's happening now and why that's important to have the different scenarios.
The scenario he's going through now kind of replicates a home visit for community supervision. And so we've got a domestic situation that has occurred during the visit. And so the officer's faced with interacting with the participants on the video and trying to de-escalate the situation and separate the parties, keep people safe. The different scenarios present different challenges. Each challenge offers the officer an opportunity to recall the things that are important in these types of situations, such as use of force policies and procedures, other laws and best practices, things like that. So that's really what the scenarios are all about, to kind of immerse them in that environment in a safe location, so that they can recall those things.
Drop the knife.
Not every scenario that we do is going to involve use of force. In some of the scenarios, if the officers in training are responding appropriately, if they're using effective communication techniques and things such as that, then the operator can alter the outcome of the scenario to make it, where the offender complies or gives up.
Now, David, this definitely is no video game, but there are scores there. Can you explain how that works?
Sure. So this is just kind of a diagnostic tool that lets the operator and the officer see what the results of what just happened. The shots fired, how many of those shots were effective. There's several different types of diagnostic tools on this.
Thank you, David, for letting us come by and check out this amazing educational tool that's offered to TDOC officers. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you for joining us for another exciting episode of TDOC Talks and going inside the simulator here at the Tennessee Correction Academy. As always, you can catch us on our social media platforms and be looking out for the next episode of TDOC Talks on May 2nd.